Hello, ladies and gents. Welcome to a very early on Lady Niffle guide. Before I jump into this, there's two disclaimers that I want to quickly start off with. Disclaimer one is that I do not have her built to the point where I think I need to build her to be able to make her work in the fullest capacity. So I'm going to show you what I have on, but most importantly, I'm also going to show you what I think you should have on if you're going to invest into the character. Disclaimer number two is that I don't think she's currently, like, worth the investment over other characters. And the reason for that is that most content in the game can be cleared with any character that you want. So you could obviously, level her up if you want to, because she's not bad per se. But in the content that is currently, and I say currently, the late game content that and we're talking about immersive theater, you kind of need to have Animo or Pyro going. If you're running a Lumino character like Lady Niffle in this content, you're not going to be doing much. So if you don't really care about this, or you already have another character built and you want to use her, then no problem. Like, watch this guide and hopefully you can get some use out of it. But if you're thinking like, hey, I think Lady Niffle is the best character in the game, I want to build her right now, you are kind of mistaken. But I'm going to explain why I think she has some downsides, but also why she might be good or why she might be fun to use. Very quickly, how to get Lady Niffle. If you go to your shop and then covert commissions, you can buy the secret letters for this character. You'll need roughly, at the least you'll need 3 secret letters, but then you have to be very lucky. You're gonna probably need an average of like 20, sometimes 17, sometimes 22, somewhere around that. You might even need more. I think the hard pity would be 33 or somewhere around that to be able to get her. Okay, that being said, let's jump straight into it. And let's start with what might be the most confusing part of her kit, which is her abilities. Obviously, that's going to be the most confusing part. The way she works is Lady Niffle is a character that can do 2 types of damage. She can do Lumino damage, and she can also do Umbro damage. So when you use her skill, for the first time, you will be doing Umbro damage. When you press your skill button again, you will be doing Lumino damage. It's just as simple as Umbro, Lumino, Umbro, Lumino. That's all there is to it. It's like a rotation of skills, which I haven't really figured out if that's a good thing or a bad thing, considering resistances. But yeah, it's the way it is. You can upgrade this as well to get some extra attack percent. I'm not doing it because I'm not going to fully invest into her just yet, but if you are using her, obviously you should be getting this. It's good to know that your Umbro instance slows them, and your Lumino instance makes them do less damage. So basically what you're doing is slow debuff, damage debuff. I don't think that part of the kit is that necessary to really worry about, because you are going to be spamming your skill, so this will just naturally happen. It's quite nice. Now, the main important part of her kit is her ultimate. And this is a very expensive, it's a 120 sanity cost cast. And it basically creates a field around you. Like, I guess I can show it now. It doesn't really seem to show, but you've probably seen it when other people do it. There's like a dome around you.
I shall offer what humble aid I can.
Within that range, quite a lot of things happen. So your skill gets buffed. This skill gets buffed. One of them pulls them in, and the other gives you trigger probability. So you get trigger probability. You also get a suck, basically pulling enemies in together, comparable to like Sucrose. I guess they're gonna show it here. Comparable to Sucrose from Genshin. Basically, it's a nice crowd control. But when you have this buff going, you're also not consuming any sanity for using your skill. So you can have 6 skill casts within 1 ult cast for free. It also mentioned it over here. So I'll show you. I will show you in a second when my sanity bar is filled. This is also obviously an issue, and we'll get into this in just a second. Your ultimate itself costs quite a lot of sanity to use, so having some skill efficiency is not a bad thing on this character. We're almost there. We need like 6 more seconds, I think. Yeah, next one. So we're gonna use our ult. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that should have been it, but for some reason we got a 7th one, so apparently it's either bugged or I can't count. But yeah, you get an X amount of skills that you can use within the duration. Basically, if you have enough if you have enough sanity, you basically just want to be using your ult and then spamming your skill into it. Now, you may have realized something, and I'll show you this in the combat section. You don't really have that much range on this character. And when you use your ultimate, you cannot buff your skill range. It mentions it over here. If you have more skill range than 100%, the excess skill range that you have is going to be transformed into skill damage. So obviously having skill range on this character is quite nice because, you know, you'll need skill range for this to be able to hit enemies, but also you get a damage boost in your ultimate form because you have excess skill range. So that is that. You also get obviously the 12% here, which doesn't add on to the skill range here, but as I just mentioned, is going to give you more skill damage. And then for her passive, basically when you have more trigger probability on ranged weapons, there is a chance that when you cast your Umbro or your Lumino, that it basically does an extra cast of it. So this already kind of explains that you need to have some trigger probability. Keep in mind this is on a ranged weapon. It doesn't mention anything here about a melee weapon on it. And then what is also mentioned here, but I want to quickly check. Yeah, so the damage buff that you get, or not the damage buff, but the suck capability and the extra trigger probability here does not proc on those extra ones gained from having trigger probability. If you catch my drift. If not, I guess it's not that important, so just ignore it, I suppose. And then what is quite cool, but I haven't really seen this in effect, is you can like have an extra spawn, then also have an extra spawn. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure what the breakpoints are, like how much trigger probability you should be going for, but if you really want to invest into this character, just get as much as you possibly can. And I think I've mentioned everything for skills. Also very important, and I think this might actually be the most important part, is from what I'm currently seeing, is I think Lady Niffle is going to be a better off-field support than she is going to be a main field carry. Because if you get this passive unlocked, you get a 50% attack boost for your Lumino allies. And if you've tried using Lizbol, she's actually insane. So I'm assuming Lizbol as a main character with Niffle as a side character is going to be more, is going to be better. But you know, I'm not patenting that. I'm not saying it's going to be a definitive better or worse. I just feel like it might be. As for your weapons, neither of the weapons that, according to the wiki, are good, but I've also actually gone through, and I think the wiki is correct on this. Neither of those, the weapons that are supposed to be good on her, I own at the moment. So I'm going to show you what they are, and I'm going to explain why I think they're good. But I'm also going to show you the alternatives. So very quickly, I'm currently using the Wayne Wraith, which is not her best in slot, but it is nice to have, and it's a free weapon you unlock by just doing... let me see if I can find the menu quickly, because navigating this game is still somewhat confusing to me. Here, in your beginner's guide, your phase 3 has a free Wayne Wraith. So... yeah, it's just a good weapon to use for now until you get something better. But her best in slot is a katana, and it is this one, the Wither Shade, because it gives you skill range, and it is a weapon that is specific to her. Now, I don't think that having the Wayne Wraith is that big of a damage loss, but I haven't been able to test it because I don't have the comparison. The reason this is good is it gives you a bunch of skill range, which again is good for your skill, but most importantly is also going to give you extra damage within your ult because of the conversion. Melee weapon is not that important, whether you use the Wayne Wraith or the Wither Shade, I think. But what is most important is the ranged weapon that you use. So I am currently using the Destructo, but I probably should be using the Excrez Duo because it gives you skill damage. But what seems to be the best in slot for her is the Entropic Singularity, because it gives you 75% trigger probability, which is something that you're looking for, because having more trigger probability means that you'll have more random skills popping off whenever you are using skills, which again is this passive over here. So yeah, if you really want to invest into her, Wither Shade and Entropic Singularity are probably going to be your best in slots. I would personally prioritize Entropic Singularity because your ranged weapon trigger probability is what gives the passive its effects. And then if you already have the Wane Wraith and you don't have the Wither Shade and you don't really want to get the Wither Shade, just stick to the Wane Wraith because it is pretty good as it is. For your Genimon, this is, I think, the part that most people won't have to the end game level yet, because there's a lot of like Genimons that are higher, where is it? That are a higher rarity, but people just won't have it yet. So what I'm recommending, or what I would recommend for now, is just to use the Bulby. It does Lumino damage, which is nice. It gives you skill range, or I guess it gives. Wait, sorry, let me read this real quick. Range and increases the skill damage taken by them. Yeah, so it just gives you a bunch of extra skill damage. And then you also get a tiny bit of Lumino damage here. As far as I can tell, with practically any character, you want to be using the... Okay, they make quite a lot of noise, so I'm going to switch off. You basically want to be using whatever matches your element, because that's usually good. Yeah, that's usually good in general. Okay, very quickly, to kind of, before I jump into the demon wedges, the stats that you're looking for, and this is mentioned over here as well, is you want to be chasing as much Lumino attack, skill damage, skill range as possible, and then skill efficiency is highlighted here. This is nice to have, but if you feel like you are killing things very quickly, you don't really need to get more skill efficiency. Skill efficiency is only when you are not killing enemies, so you're not getting your sanity back from the kills, and you need to make sure that you're not using too much sanity. Now, the reason skill efficiency is really good on Niffle in that case, and more so on Niffle than, for example, on Yale, is because of how high the cost of your buff is. So if you can get a bunch of skill efficiency and get the 120 cost down to like 100 or to 90 or whatever, you're doing pretty well. Whereas on a character that only...
Oliver would be much better at
is only using
fighting
10,
than
skill
me.
efficiency might not be as good. But I will show you in just a second that there might be a demon wedge setup, which works really well on Lady Niffle. And let's actually just get straight into that. So for demon wedges, I do not currently have them all built because I do not want to. I don't want to use the what are they called? I don't want to use track shift modules on her just yet because I don't have a lot. I only have 4 left, and I don't think I'm going to invest in her. But if you are going to use your track shift modules to half the cost of your wedges, I'm going to show you which ones that I currently think are worth running. So the Midnight Sun, which basically gives you Lumino attack, skill damage, skill duration, seems pretty good. Although the skill duration maybe not so much, but you know, we'll leave that be. Prime Serenity is really good because it restores a total of 10 sanity per 3 seconds, which is huge to have. Now, it says it here, restores additional sanity by 7 for you and your teammates every 3 seconds, but it does not stack. So if you're running other combat partners that also have a Prime Serenity, it will not give you 30 per 3 seconds. So keep that in mind. On your off-fielders, you would probably rather use this one right here, Uplift, which is going to increase the damage dealt for your teammates. I've got Covenanter's Scourge in here because it gives you a big attack boost, and it's kind of the only thing that I can really run in here. But if you're looking for other wedges to run, I'm actually going to go to the menu here. And this is a bit of theory crafting, so I can't guarantee that this is the best way to go, but I don't believe that you're gonna run poorly with this. So when you're looking for demon wedges at level 65, this one right here, the Gleam and Glimmer, seems to be pretty good, and then also the Prismatic Neon seems pretty good. Prismatic Neon is going to give you skill duration, which is not like ideal to have, but I guess Gleam and Glimmer does the same thing. And the passive, when enemies near a Lumina character take weapon damage, crit chance increases 32% and gain an additional 8% against targets with debuffs. I don't think this is that good because crit, as far as I can tell, does not work on skills. what is kind of interesting is if you get this Demon Wedge, which gives you skill duration, but it also increases your Lumino attack for every skill duration that you have. And if you take this and you stack that with a bunch of these, which gives you attack and skill duration, you might actually be able to get big Lumino attack damage numbers going. Again, this is a bit of theory crafting. I'm not entirely sure about it yet, and I'm not going to invest into the character too much to worry about it, but if you really want to give it a try, that's probably the way it goes. So, that being said, that's how I think this character should be built and how she should be played. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to take you into the immersive theater. And I'm not going to take you into the featured or immortal repertoire because we are going to do literally no damage. For one, my Niffle isn't built. Two, she doesn't match the pyro or the animo element. So I'm going to just take you into the classic repertoire, into Act 7, to kind of show you how her abilities would work. Now, I kind of see some similarities with Yale and Oliver, where, well, I guess most characters in the game, where you basically just want to press your ult, and then you want to be using your skill. Before I get into it, one of the reasons why I think she's a bit worse than characters like, for example, Yale or Rebecca in terms of wave clearing, is that your range, even with extra skill range, isn't too big. And you could be missing out on killing a lot of enemies just because you're not in range or because they're too spread out. Whereas Rebecca or Yale, they have way more range inherently or naturally. Anyway, let's go. So we're gonna just figure out where the enemies are, press our ultimates, and then just skill, skill, skill. And we're not gonna be wasting our other skills because we kind of want to keep the buff of not having to use any resolve. I still have one more cast, and now if you look at the bottom right, my ult ran out because I've used 6 casts of my skill. So we're gonna switch back. Skill, skill. Yeah. Obviously the enemies are dying a bit too quickly here because I'm also using Rebecca, who's pretty well built and who's just killing everything. But I just want to show you how you would go about clearing content. Press your ult, press your skill, and once your skill, or I guess your ult has run out and you do have enough sanity, you want to cast it again. She's a satisfying character to play for sure, but I'm assuming that most of her value is going to come at a point where there is content that is weak specifically to Lumino and or Umbro damage. But that's currently not the case because of Immersive Theater is Animo and Pyro. That being said, I hope this was somehow helpful. If you have any questions about the character or about other characters that you think I can help you with, make sure to leave a comment. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.